It all got started with Greg Grimwood, who's a youth pastor for one of the local churches. And he wanted to do evangelistic events that would bring youth, unsaved youth, into the youth group. I had my background in marketing and design. That's where I was working at the time. And so he asked for my help in kind of some whiteboard sessions to brainstorm what we were going to do. He said, I'm really looking at those kids that hang around downtown. They're always getting kicked out of the library or hanging out at the gazebo. We saw a group that we didn't think had any other chance of hearing about Christ. This is a suburb, mostly white middle-class neighborhood, and yet hanging out downtown are all these kids that are real rough looking. You'd think like the city bust them in, sometime in the middle of the afternoon. You almost didn't want to look at them because you didn't know they just didn't fit. And there they are right in the middle of our city, and they're wearing as much black eyeliner as you can possibly put on one face, and they got chains hanging off their pants and a skateboard under one arm and a detention slip in their pocket. And we just thought, these kids are so far removed from anybody who's ever going to go, "Hi, would you like to come to church with me on Sunday morning?" That was just never going to happen. Even the word church to them had the wrong connotation, and that's why we picked them. We'd just all come back from one of those big conferences where you learn how to use all media, and we thought we were all that in a bag of chips. It didn't occur to us to do anything differently. That's what you do, right? You plan an event, and you make a poster. And we had drama and music, and no one showed up. It just didn't work. We had no idea what to do after that. So we said, we got to get together and pray. We didn't think there was a curriculum somewhere for how to reach skateboard punks. And we wanted to do this in a way that was genuine and authentic. And so we just met to ask God, what does this look like? And we might as well pray in that parking lot, in that space that's just a block away from where the kids are hanging out. There was a garage there, and there's actually 1/3 of the garage that was vacant. We prayed for 4 months, just asking God to show us what was the next step. And then we started getting together twice a week because we almost couldn't stand to not be with each other. We were experiencing some very authentic community just among the 6 or 7 of us that was really different than anything we had ever experienced before. Now, looking back, where we see how we were being prepared for what we were going to do. So we'd have the bay open, we'd sit in a circle, and somebody said, "Well, let's go meet some of the kids." We went out 2 by 2 because somebody told us that was in the Bible somewhere. We specifically would walk up to the kids that fit that target that we were talking about, and we would invite them back to our garage. And we all came back at the end of the night and talked about how ridiculous we must have sounded going, "Hey, would you like to come back to our garage?" It just reeks of cheesy, Say, okay, that didn't work. We all had a notebook. Okay, so what are we praying for next week? Okay, a better idea to reach kids. We got together and we said, well, let's order pizza. We'll put pizza in the garage and we'll go out, we'll meet the same kids, and we'll tell them we have pizza. Some of the kids are starting to look familiar now. We go, "Hey, come back to the garage, we have pizza." And all that does is reverberate of "Hey, little boy, you want a piece of candy?" It just was. And so when we came back together and we sat down, we go, "Oh my gosh, now we're creepers with pizza. It's horrible." So the next week, we actually took the pizza with us. We walked around the gazebo, and we walked around the library, and we'd hand out a piece of pizza, and we'd say, "If you come back to the garage, you can have another piece of pizza." So we came back at the end of that night and we're like, "Oh my gosh, that was just as bad as the last 3 weeks." So we took our little notes, went home, prayed about what we were going to do. We were going home every week and we were praying and we were asking God, what do we do? And while we were sitting here praying about what do we heard skateboards. And there were 4 kids on skateboards. And they're coming across the parking lot. And we jumped up from praying, and somebody said, "We got to go. Those are our kids. I recognize them." And at that point, they were our kids. I mean, you could hear it. It was like this moment in time. It multiplied each week. And by the first Thursday in May, in that same 20 by 23 garage, and the same parking lot that holds 15 cars, we counted 115 kids.